It wasn't that I didn't know how to invest. It was that I was kind of under this mountain of debt that if I got from under that, then I can really be in charge of my finances. And it was in that process that I understood identifying and having a plan around my money gave me so much control as to where before I was making really good money, but I didn't understand where it was going. But it was that intentionality of understanding and applying your money and putting it where it needs to go that changed the game for me.
Gloria Steinem once said, "We will never solve the feminization of power until we solve the masculinity of wealth." Barbara Provost and Maggie Nielsen are the team at Purse Strings that will help you navigate the ins and outs of financial independence so that you can be financially fearless. This is Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about.
Today we have Naseema on the show, and boy, does she have a story to share. So before we dive in, Naseema, will you take a minute to introduce who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Naseema McElroy, labor and delivery nurse by trade, personal finance enthusiast for fun, mom of 3 girls, and have been on this crazy journey of figuring out my finances and taking people along the way with me since 2016. And so just excited to dive into my story and share more with your audience.
All right. Well, let's get to the heart of it, right? Naseema, how does one get to be $1 million in debt? Take us there.
I love that question because it's just like, first of all, why would you want to listen to somebody that has $1 million in debt? They must be really stupid. But actually quite opposite. So I have 2 master's degrees, one in healthcare administration, one in nursing. So student loan debt is part of that. And for context, when I was going to school, it was like $40,000 a year, and I have over 8 years of school. So I think I came out good with $200,000 in debt for that. And then, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area where the median home prices were at that time when I paid off my home or sold my home was $700,000. So, 200 plus 700, you're already at 900. So the rest of it was just like regular debt, cars, taking out loans against your retirement account to put down payment on your house, paying for braces for your ex-husband, like all of those things that we do,
Yep. Life, which I love that it's no Gucci purses, no extravagant vacations, nothing out of the ordinary to get you there. It's not hard to do. And so when was the time we said enough is enough? And it really made you shift from earning 6 figures, but still struggling to deciding, I'm going to wipe out this debt?
I didn't even look at it like that. I was like, I just need to figure out this money thing. And I thought it was like, I really need to understand investing because that's something that I never really understood. And I was like, I just need to know how money really works. And I invested so much time in my education. And now I have the time, I know how to do deep dives into things. I know how to implement things into my life. Now I need to use it outside of my career. I need to use it for me. And I was a single mom. It was me and my daughter. We lived in this big ass house. We had everything that was Instagram popping, but on the inside, I was so scared that if something were to happen to me, I don't know who would take care of my daughter. And I just had this extreme sense of urgency that I had to figure it out. And so I was just like, all right, this is it. I'm going to do this. And I had an hour commute to work one way. And I was just like, oh, I'm listening to NPR podcasts. I might as well listen to personal finance podcasts. And I started listening to personal finance audiobooks. And so everything that I was consuming turned into those things that I needed to learn. Plus, that's, when Instagram was really taking off. And so started curating the people that I follow to the people that I aspire to be like. And so I changed my circle of influence. And those were the messages that I got. And then realized that it wasn't that I didn't know how to invest. It was that I was kind of under this mountain of debt that if I got from under that, then I can really be in charge of my finances. And it was in that process that I understood identifying and having a plan around my money gave me so much control, as to where before I was making really good money, but I didn't understand where it was going. But it was that intentionality of understanding and applying your money and putting it where it needs to go that changed the game for me.
That's so cool. And I love how you used your time in the car to listen to the podcast. We hear this a lot, where women have this moment that's like, I don't know this and I need to listen to it. We had someone who said every night after work, she'd go to the library. All the librarians would wave hello because I knew she was coming in. She'd sit down with those finance books and they would just start learning. So it's just about really getting started and learning and digging in. You were making a good income. And like you said, it's just about knowing where your money is going and putting it in the right places. So good for you. That's fantastic. So what were some of the changes that you made?
So the first thing that I had to really do is understand what was going in and coming out every month, and then putting a plan in place for where that money was going. And that was called budgeting. I was like one of those early adapters of Mint. So I thought that because I was categorizing my transactions that I knew how to budget, but really understanding like how to give my money a plan, understanding like exactly where it needed to go and putting it there gave me so much control and so much power over that money. It shifted that dynamic. And so now my money was working for me. So budgeting was like one of the biggest things that really shifted. And then just focusing on one debt at a time, because, like if we give our attention to too many things, we can't really make the progress that we want. And so just focusing in on, paying one debt off at a time and just continuously like learning along the process. And what really helped me was I actually started my platform just to share with my close friends. I have a group of girlfriends. We've been friends since middle school and high school. And I just wanted to be a centralized place because I hate repeating myself, but solidifying those lessons that I learned and teaching it, reteaching it is the way that you actually can learn something. And so those were the big things that I did to really accelerate my path to being able to pay off $1 million in debt in under 3 years.
Wow, that's impressive. It's so interesting is we always tell people to start with, know what's going in, know what's coming out. And people are always like, yeah. Like it's food. It's like, yeah, I know, garbage in, garbage out, all the different things. And it's just, anybody that we talk to who's paid off large sums, made a lot of money, all this stuff, it always comes back to know what's coming in, know what's going out. And it's just, it doesn't matter how much you earn. You have to know those numbers no matter what. It's just like through and through. And so it's everyone we hear it from. It's just, you can't say it enough.
Yeah, because there's no magic code or secret handshake that makes money drop out of the sky to pay your bills off. I mean, it's the same routine, right? It's what you have to do. But I'm curious. So when you went to the budgeting, were there ahas about what you learned about the way you were managing money versus once you started budgeting, like changes that you made in the way you spent your money or saved your money?
I just realized I did not have any clue where my money was going, because like I didn't make more during the time when I started paying off this debt. The only thing that changed was my intentionality, like it actually paying attention to where my money was going. And I was just so blown away. Like I had this tool in my purse the whole time. Like I could have been using this. And I think people really don't understand. Like I really think it's underrated. Like you said, like you can keep on stressing, like understanding where your money is going. But in really understanding that and then having a plan and just being like, this is what I'm prioritizing and everything else needs to stay in whatever lane it's going to fall into. But this is what I'm prioritizing, and that getting done, hitting that goal every month just because you have a simple plan. It's like, oh my God, like where have you been all my life?
You almost hate that it's so easy that why didn't I do it sooner? And then it's like, we can't live on that shame and guilt right now. We're going to pick up and move on. And so I know like your group is called Financially Intentional. You talk a lot about being financially intentional, and we love that. And so what does that look like in everyday life? What are the habits or decisions that like help you break those cycles?
It's about being really thoughtful about what you consume and where your money is going. And it's not about deprivation. It's about living the life that you want to live and knowing that in order to do that, it's great to be able to spend on the things that really bring you joy. Being like, I don't need that thing out of the $5 section at Target. Like, it's really not that serious. It's really not going to bring me that much joy. And understanding that in practical everyday decisions, especially when you have kids that just think that they want to pick up everything, and being able to distill those messages into them, like that's what being intentional is to us.
I feel like with kids, you could always just be saying no all the time. And so you really have to talk that through of like, why I'm not just Miss No, but there's a reason why we're doing what we're doing. And then I'm sure there's like a trip or something you go on. This is why we didn't buy all those $5 things at Target.
Yeah, it is what I like to say. It's like being financially conscious, because sometimes we can spend very unconsciously because it's so easy, right? Swipe and tap and hit your watch and blink just about and you bought something, right?
Exactly. It's so they reduced all the levels of friction from, getting the things that you need, and they make it so convenient, and they just drop it off at your doorstep and it's there sometimes the same day, and it's just like magical. And so why wouldn't you want those things?
I know we're going up against a lot of the marketing tactics that they use that are kind of subliminal and make us want all of these items that we don't really need in the long run. So I know a lot of our listeners are in healthcare or service professions, working their tails off and still feeling stuck financially. So what are a few money myths you would bust for them right now?
I think like everybody is like, oh, there's so much burnout in healthcare, and, like everybody is like being sold like these entrepreneurial dreams. And what I like to say is like, even if you do want to exit, like you don't want to trade your time for money and all that kind of stuff, that we hear, you have so many things that you can take advantage of in the healthcare spaces. Number one, you have really cheap insurance. Like I pay $26 every 2 weeks for insurance for a family of 4. Like, wow. Okay.
That's impressive.
Okay. So then you have all these options of where to put your money. You have all these benefits. You have your education that they can pay for. In the healthcare space, there's so much opportunity to really support and advocate for people. You're in a unique position to really change somebody's life. So instead of looking at all the bad things that are happening in the healthcare system, use your position in life to really pour into people, because it's going to come back to you. But like on both levels, you have the tangible, like you can be saving in so many assets where it's matched. You have all these opportunities to get things paid for, but also you're in a position to serve people in a way that nobody else can. And you need to fully take advantage of that.
Those are all great tips, because I think sometimes we forget that it's way more than what the paycheck that hits your bank account. And if that's the only thing you're trying to match, you're missing out on a lot of benefits. You also get to hold the new fresh babies, right?
Yeah, your labor and delivery, that's like the best of the best.
It is. When it's up, it's up. But when it's down too. Like we have some really, really hard times too, and experiences that we have to go through. And those are the experiences that you don't ever forget. And so to be in a position to be able to serve people in those times, the best and the worst of times, is a unique experience that I don't take for granted. And people always remember their birth stories. And so I'm in a unique position to be able to influence that in a positive way. And I love that. I mean, like there's obviously problems in the system and all that kind of stuff, but on a day-to-day basis, being able to serve those families is just, I feel like it's a gift for me.
Yeah. I thank you for doing that, because, man, I could never. So anyone who can go and do that, like, please, let's keep them there. Let's do the thing, because there's other ones out here who we will just never be able to do that. So you are also a mom of 3. So let's talk about being a mom for a second. How did becoming a mother kind of influence how you think about money and legacy and like kind of what you leave behind?
It's crazy because oftentimes we won't do for ourselves what we would do for our kids. And it's easier because sometimes we feel like, oh, it's kind of too late for us, but we can get a head start for them, but people lose sight that you have to model that behavior for them for it to stick. And learning that, I mean, it wouldn't, if it wasn't for my oldest daughter, this whole platform wouldn't exist, right? And so she motivated me to do that. But what I had to understand is that it wasn't just about making sure she was straight financially. It was about making sure that I was in a good position so that she didn't have to take care of me. Like so many of us have to take care of our parents and all that kind of stuff. I needed to set myself up first, and then I would be able to put her in a position where she could succeed, and modeling those things that I want her to be financially. And so that's what I've done. And, uniquely for me, I've been able to take my kids on this journey with me, and they're part of my brand. And so they get to hear these things over and over again, and so hopefully like some of that is seeking through osmosis. And then we have money lessons every day. And I know that they show up because they say stuff to their grandma like, I don't know why you have all those things in your grocery. My mom has way more money than you when she don't spend all that money at the grocery store.
The lack of filter. My God.
Right. But it's just that. And like being able to be in a position to not have my kids start from zero, or like me going to the adult world of starting at a deficit, I feel like is a superpower. And so I'm just really blessed that I am able to be in that space and that they get to be a part of this world too.
I saw a post looking before we got on this call about how like you didn't hit six figures until like your mid to late 30s, and your kids already have like a six-figure net worth. And so how would you recommend to others to start building wealth for their children if that's something that they're interested in doing?
Yeah, I love teaching parents about money and investing for their kids. Number one, because I trick them to get in the room because like they think it's going to be about their kids. And then I'd be like, if you ain't maxing out at least a Roth IRA, then get out of here. Okay. But then I teach them how to do it. Right. But so that's number one. Number two is that I think like kids have the power of time on their side. And so with very little, you can make a huge impact on their lives. And by very little, I mean like as little as $5 a month, like you can make an impact depending on what age you start at. So it doesn't take a lot. It just is about forming those muscles and then also instilling the values in them to be able to carry on. And so my kids have 3 investment accounts. I was heavily focused with my older daughter on her setting up her 529. And I was able to get that started for her when she was around 3 going to 4, and been able to put money in there. And I don't even invest in that account anymore, but because I was able to start it so early, it's like grown crazy. Like of that $100,000+ in there, like 80 something of it is her 529. And I haven't touched that account in over 5 years. And then, because my kids are part of my brand, I'm able to create retirement accounts for them because they have earned income. And then I use a brokerage account to combat those messages of consumerism so that they understand that they're owners in companies and not just consumers. Like, yes, you like Roblox. Like, yeah, I can give you some Robux, but I can also just buy the stock for you. So it's a little bit of a balance. And so understanding that and kind of gamifying it, because my 2 older ones are really competitive, and being like, well, you got the same $20 this month. Like, what are you going to pick? And then at the end of the month, see how in returns it's done. And they're just like, oh, I beat you. And my company is better than yours. And, so that's what I'm able to do with investing. Again, it's not about just like giving them money and like throwing them out into the wild. It's about teaching them the lessons early on so that they can be responsible adults and hopefully keep on passing that on generationally.
Just brilliant. It really is. Thank you for saying all of that and doing all of that with your children. There's no financial literacy in schools. It really has to take place at home, and it just doesn't, right? It just doesn't. And because so many of us haven't been taught that, and we haven't made that a conscious effort in our own households. But look how much we can learn from you and what you've done. It's really wonderful what you've done.
And I'm still learning. Like, I just want people to know, like, they don't have to have it all figured out. You just kind of have to do one thing and not be afraid to make mistakes and just keep on going. I mean, it's not linear. Like, I have had several stumbling blocks. I've had a lot of setbacks, but it's like I keep on learning and I keep on sharing, and, hopefully it's impacting people.
And the other thing, I want to just re-highlight is the importance of you just saying to all these moms out there, like, you have to put yourself first before you fund all your kids. And we see this way too often where they're paying for college when their retirement is not settled. Like, they're going to go get a job and then back up your retirement. Like, at least that's not what I signed on to.
I've seen even worse. Like, I've seen people pull out of their retirement accounts to fund their kids' college. And I'm like, if that ain't the most backward thing I have ever heard, like, you better not touch that retirement account. Like, your kids are going to be okay, but you're not.
Yeah. And it's just another message we can't say enough. It's like we say, it's like the airplane. You got to put on your own oxygen mask first. And you have to fund your own retirement first. And as much as you want to give to your kids, sometimes you just can't. And that's that. They'll figure it out. A lot of us have. And so I just really appreciate you practicing that and preaching that, because it is so important, especially for women, as we're such givers to everybody. We have to make sure we're filling our own accounts, our own cup, whatever it may be.
I just wanted to say, especially with those, I see those Parent Plus loans for kids to go to college, it scares me so much and if children don't finish college and those loans are still out there, we know women are going to live longer, typically outlive their spouse, and that's a time where they're going to need more money. So even more so, good reason to share that message that women need to fund their retirement account and think of themselves first. So thank you.
And so you've been where a lot of women are right now, kind of tired, buried in debt, overwhelmed. What is like the very first small step someone could take today to kind of start climbing out?
I know this is kind of sound woo, but like, just believing that you're capable of doing it is like the first thing. But I just think that people just don't know what's possible for them. And if I've done it, please know that it's possible for you. And it's probably not going to look like what you think it's going to look like, but it's possible for you. But like, really, that first step is understanding where your money is going, understanding what's coming in, what's going out, getting a firm grasp of that. And then you can start making your money work for you by creating a spending plan or budget, wherever you want to call it, that sounds great for you, to make your money do what it needs to do for you.
Do you use like an app or something now for your budgeting, spending?
Daily, like personally, like I use Monarch, but I have tools for people like there's My Budget Coach, where you can get a personalized budget coach that is like, like walks you through that. I love My Budget Coach, and I have a profile on there. I'm always like kind of hold back on recommending a budgeting tool, because I feel like sometimes people like will try something and it's like, oh, this didn't work for me. So I always say, use the budgeting tool that works for you, that you're actually going to use.
But it's still great to hear that even these years later, you're still using an app, you're still tracking it, it doesn't go away.
No, it does not go away. It does not go away.
And I'm going to date myself, but years ago when I was single, we had this thing called a checkbook, and our money came into our account. And then every time you had to pay a bill, you had to write a check. It was like a budgeting app, because you knew with every check where everything was going. You were writing it all out and subtracting it from there. So you were really writing out your budget, and it was right there in front of you in your checkbook.
It's just the days. Like now there's like Klarna, Afterpay, credit cards, like the people's money is being taken in so many different places. Like, it's so easy to lose track, like where your money is going and where it's coming from, what payments you need to make. How do you even track? But credit cards, if it's not due on a certain day and technically you don't have to pay the full thing, it's a little bit more complex. And I wish it was just as simple as, sitting down and just like balancing your checkbook. And I remember that's the financial literacy lesson they used to teach in school, right? But now there's apps and resources that can kind of simplify those things for you. It's a little bit of a learning curve for some people. And like a lot of people are really just intimidated because it's scary. It's scary. Or they think that they should have been able to figure it out by now and have a lot of guilt about not having figured it out.
Oh, yeah. We see that a lot. And that's why our podcast is called Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about. Because we're starting to have these conversations and saying, you might be overwhelmed. You might say, I don't know. We don't care that you don't know. All we care about is that you get started today and you start asking questions so that we can answer them and get you on the right road so that you have these beautiful tomorrows. Because when you look back, if you get started, you'll be like, wow, look how far I've come. I paid off $1 million, right? Unless you get started, it's never going to happen.
And I just love you guys' podcast and your story just in general, because yes, like women have been so underserved by the finance industry and like talked down to, and like there's a lot of guilt and shame and people just don't act. And I've seen it firsthand. Because like at my hospital, we have a great retirement plan, which, not everybody can say because we have a 403B and they, have a little bit less regulations around it. But I've looked through it and it's amazing. But like the person that sits in the cafeteria and administers it is like this guy who can be a little bit intimidating he's great to me. I love him to death. Like he doesn't intimidate me, but I'm not a person that's easily intimidated. But you're in a field where there's nurses and, that personality type is usually like a little bit submissive and a little bit like they need to be coddled a little bit with information like that, especially if they already feeling like they don't understand and they think that they should know and they're far behind. And so I was just saying, like, I just really love what you guys are doing and the messages and the empowerment that you're giving to people, because you recognize this need in this space that these women are out here so underserved.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we're got to get them the right help that they need to really own their financial future, because it's a lot. You need a team out there, right? There is a question we like to ask everybody on our podcast, and now it's your turn to answer. And so what is your own definition of financial freedom?
Financial freedom is having the control to live your life on your terms. Period.
She's got it prepared. She's ready to go.
Yeah. A lot of people don't have control over their lives because of the money decisions that they have made or the money decisions that have been made for them. And shifting that relationship gives you so much control back over your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the work that you're doing. You're helping so many people step into their financial power. I mean, you are, we are, it's going to take all of us, right, to lift all ships and make sure women know that there are all these resources out there for them. Don't need to be afraid. Don't need to be intimidated. One foot in front of the other. Reach out to Naseema. She's got a great Instagram. I've looked through it. Good humor on there as well. We had a few chuckles. So where else can they connect with you, Naseema?
So along with Instagram, where I hang out, unfortunately, every day, a little bit too much, you can listen to me on the Financially Intentional podcast. I have nearly 300 episodes, probably more. And yeah, just even if you just in a podcast app, just put in Naseema. It's not a lot of Naseemas out there. Put in Naseema McElroy if you're feeling frisky. And just it's so much information that I've shared on different platforms. Like just hang out with me there. I'm very responsive to DMs on Instagram if you have some questions for me. But yeah, Instagram, Financially Intentional Podcast. I have a website. But yeah, those are the places.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we appreciate you taking the time today and having this conversation. It just is inspiring that anyone can do it. $1 million in debt, and you're still now raising 3 badass daughters who all are making their own money as well. So we love to see it. And it really shows what some financial education can do for all of us. And so all ships will rise. And yeah, thanks for coming on today. Talk to everyone soon. Until then, be financially fearless. You've been listening to Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about. Now it's time to take what you've learned and make bold moves towards financial independence. Stay in the know by joining our newsletter for exclusive tools, resources, and updates that keep you financially fearless. Head to pursestrings.co and sign up today. Need a financial professional who gets it? Turn to PurseStrings' curated directory, your go-to resource for financial experts who know how to put you first. Love this episode? Leave us a review and help us empower even more women to own their financial power. Until next time, be financially fearless.